guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is Sunday, June 3rd, 2018. Today is our European UK news that we do every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are glad that you are here with us. We've got a lot of cool news today.
We do. And stay tuned because sometime later on this afternoon, after this live stream, we're going to do a little tour of the garden. So, here we go. I'm really excited because we've been covering Tommy, and he's in jail 13 months. But there's a huge pushback, and I'm hoping that Tommy is feeling your love and your prayers. And this wake-up call.
Yes.
In the UK, not just in the UK, but across Europe, something has to be done.
Right.
You cannot be put in prison for 13 months for reading
the
news just because
it's already been published.
The people belong to the religion that shall not be named. 500,000 have signed the Free Tommy petition. More than 500,000 people have signed a petition calling for the... I love that.
No, don't even read right
You know what?
wing.
Why is it that even Breitbart... I'm not happy with Breitbart anymore, by the way. They've been bought and sold by globalists, but they are good news source, especially for European news.
Right.
Tommy Robinson to be freed from jail in just a few days. Mr. Robinson was jailed for 13 months over the weekend after pleading guilty to breaching contempt of court laws whilst on a suspended sentence for the same charge. He was given 10 months for the contempt of court charge and a further 3 months for breaching the suspended sentence incurred after filming outside a gang rape trial in Canterbury last year. The petition, however, claims he was arrested and jailed for reporting on Muslim grooming gangs, adding a job... See, Breitbart's really twisted here, aren't they? Really slanted.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, Raheem
Kassim left.
He was the editor-in-chief of Breitbart London. This would not be written this way. Raheem is in Tommy's corner.
It could be that... Well, I believe that Raheem left because there was pressure.
Well, he's friends with Bannon still.
And so he was like, you know what? If this is going to keep going on, you don't know what goes on behind these articles.
Right. Yeah.
So he's probably said, I'm out of here.
But the petition claims that he was arrested and jailed for reporting on Muslim grooming gangs, adding a job that he chooses to do with no regard for his own safety, informing the public of all the wrongs committed in the name of Allah, fighting against adversary, and reporting on issues that our mainstream media are too afraid to speak of. And I'm really excited about this, and I'm also really excited because Geert Wilders is going to go to London in support of Tommy. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Tommy is raising issues that are affecting all of our communities and that are being swept under the carpet and hidden from the public. The names and home addresses of defendants are also routinely reported in the press before sentencing, as well as the details of allegations, and critics have questioned why Mr. Robinson's actions are exceptional and worthy of such swift, punitive action. We are going to keep covering this because 5 hours, seriously, and you're in jail. That happens to nobody. I mean, where's the appeal? Like, everybody gets an appeal, and then an appeal. In an appeal.
Well, there's a lot of facets here, too, because I hear people like Nigel and even Katie Hopkins on Tucker Carlson saying, and then even Horatio here in the chat, which is valid. He was told not to do XYZ. He did it, which apparently he did, or he wouldn't have pled guilty to it, from what I understand. But the issue that I have is the judge said don't refer to them as Muslim rapists or whatever until they have been proven otherwise. He was reading from a newspaper article that was already published.
Right. And he was on
now, why property. Is it that Tommy, just because he's been given a warning to not call these people this or whatever, you shouldn't go to jail? It doesn't matter whether he was told not to do it. If the people are allowed to publish it, any human being should be allowed to read it. This is insanity at its highest level. So regardless of whether he pled guilty to it or he did whatever the judge told him he shouldn't do, the judge was in the wrong. And Tommy is standing up against the system that is 100% in the wrong here.
His defense says he was mindful, having spoken to others and taken advice not to say things that he thought would actually prejudice these proceedings. He did not try to cause difficulties for the court process, but the judge said not only was it a very long video,
oh, because that's important,
but I regard it as a serious aggravating feature that he was encouraging others to share it. That's the point of making a video.
So all of this is like based on interpretation for how the judge felt and interpreted.
He was laughing, by the way.
Tommy was doing.
Right.
And I love that the judge is laughing because guess what? You may have, and a lot of people think, sentenced this man to death in prison. I'm glad that you think that's funny, Judge.
Yeah, I know. So here is a protest happening at the British consulate in New York City. This, like, seriously, there's been protests against his imprisonment in Australia.
Yeah.
Jack Posobiec was lighting candles in Washington D.C. at 1 p.m. today for Tommy.
Yeah. There have been some incredible legal minds, at least here in the United States, that have analyzed this, and they're going, what?
Yeah.
What the heck? And they know more details than even we do.
Right.
And they're still saying, this is not a thing. This should not be a thing.
Right. So I'm really excited, people getting out. I mean, it's getting people in the streets. It's getting people talking. It's getting people waking up, you know, that this could happen to you. Now, this is kind of interesting. This is funny. Jack Posobiec tweeted this out. I guess there's an ad that says you're invited to Britain. Okay. Well, somebody superimposed that crazed knife attack guy in it.
Yeah, we showed this the other day.
But not with the super.
You're invigorated.
You're invited. You're invited. To London, I think. I don't know if it's Britain.
You're intrepid. You're inspired.
You're inspired.
You're invited.
You're invited.
You're in tune.
You're invited.
I'm sorry, it's not funny. It's kind of funny.
You're involved. You're in awe.
You're invited.
You're infatuated.
You're invited.
You'll find your invitation to Britain at visitbritain.com.
Okay, that's kind of funny. Oh my gosh, no, I don't want to deter people, but
Come on.
it is kind of
Come
funny.
on. I'm not, I'm really not.
No, but seriously, back to Tommy, because my brain is processing a lot of this. If I was told by a judge that I couldn't go sing a praise song on a public square to God, and I did it, and I went to jail for it, just because the judge told me not to, I would expect the entire public to cry out that this is an injustice. So the excuse of the judge told him not to do it doesn't fly with me.
If these were white guys, no, Tommy wouldn't be in jail. And that's the whole point, right?
Exactly.
If this was a gang of white guys,
Right.
and Tommy was reporting on it over and over
They
again,
are using him to
the
make
BBC
a display.
would be there. Everyone would be there.
Yeah. Oh, if this was
Everyone
like
would-
Jimmy Savile and Tommy was reporting on it, no one's going to care.
No.
He's not going to jail for that.
There would be reporters there all day, every day.
Yes.
Geert Wilders, I'm coming to London to protest for Tommy Robinson. The media gag order has been lifted. But
And that's another thing that we didn't hit on, at least today. The gag order where no one could report on it for, what was it, a week or something?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
You can't tell the media not to report on something. The dude, it was swift. It was 5 hours. Dude's in jail. What is there to be kept secret for a week about it? And it wasn't to do with there was the original gag order on reporting on that actual case that he was talking about. But then there was the gag order on reporting on Tommy. And it's like, what?
Right. So the media gag order has been lifted, but the incarceration of Tommy Robinson remains a stain on the reputation of the United Kingdom. We will not rest until Robinson is free. 9 years ago, I had the privilege, this is Geert, of being banned from entering the United Kingdom. He was one of the first, I bet. Though the leader of a
many,
majority,
apparently.
major democratically elected political party in Netherlands, I am also an outspoken critic of Islam. That is why I am on the death list of several Islamic organizations and have been forced to live under 24/7 police protection for almost 14 years. Wow. And that is also the real reason why the then British government deemed me a danger to public security. The elites all over Western Europe fear the wrath of Islam. I managed to have the ban overturned in court. But since then, numerous other Islam critics, such as my courageous American friends, Robert Spencer and Pamela Geller, both of them indomitable advocates of freedom and democracy, have also been banned from entering Britain.
What is it with Britain? And I'm not going to say you guys, because obviously if you're watching our show, you're going to agree with us.
Like free speech,
with
right?
us. But I mean, yes, seriously.
Natural rights.
You can't just go banning whoever you want from the country based just because they don't like a specific religion.
It's all about Islam. Or is anybody else? How come people who subscribe to extreme Islamic beliefs aren't banned?
Oh, no. You could be trained as an ISIS fighter, and here's Sadiq Khan saying, won't you come into our country? Seriously.
George Orwell wrote in the preface to Animal Farm that if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people that what they don't want to hear. And I think that that's one of the things, the only thing that I am grateful for in public school, that I read Animal Farm and learned about communism. In just that, I don't know if I would have read it otherwise. I mean, probably in homeschool books I might have, but the fact that kids, I don't even know if they make kids read that anymore. But everyone needs to understand Animal Farm. Everyone needs to understand that when you violently overtake the government, usually the fat cats, in this case the fat pigs, they take over and then they put the whole farm under even worse constraints than what it was before. And that's what happens. That's what's happening right now all over Europe. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they don't want to hear. In Western Europe today, cowardly authorities want to deprive people like myself, Robert and Pamela and others of our right to tell our fellow citizens what Islam doesn't want them to hear. We've talked about this before. This is blasphemy laws literally being enforced.
Yes, absolutely. But instead of the previous blasphemy laws in the UK that were you couldn't speak against the church, now it's you can't speak against Islam, and you'll get thrown in jail if you do.
So when you talk about
it's that simple, though.
When you talk about rich Christian preachers, flying jets or whatever, they're not going to come after you and blow you up. That's the difference. That ideology, you're allowed, Christians are incredibly laughed at, ridiculed, made fun of in every aspect of society.
I'm sorry, I'm still blown away by my last statement. It just hit me. It really boils down to you can't speak about Islam or you going to jail.
Right.
In the UK.
Right.
It is that simple. I don't care what you want to say about Tommy Robinson. I don't care what you want to say he was told, he wasn't told, this, that, or the other. The UK has become a country where if you speak out against Islam, you go into jail.
75 years ago, people all over Europe clandestinely listened to the BBC to hear the voice of Winston Churchill. His voice was the voice of liberty, the voice of courageous resistance against Nazi totalitarianism. Churchill, by the way, had no illusions about Islam either. He said that there exists no stronger retrograde force in the world than Islam, and called Hitler's vile anti-Semitic book Mein Kampf a new Quran of faith and war.
Well, I think we should have thrown Churchill right into the slammer for at least 13 months.
I know
saying that.
British citizen today who is as staunch a freedom fighter as Winston Churchill was, who holds the same opinion on Islam and is not afraid to say so. His name is Tommy Robinson.
Wow.
Tommy Robinson was arrested on May 25th outside Leeds Crown Court after using social media to broadcast details of an ongoing trial, which he should have been doing, which everyone should have been doing. There's no such thing as prejudicing the court. In America, they report on everything. Every trial is reported on. It's all in the news all the time. Okay. Every day.
So as a child, I'm one of those paranoid kids where I see something, I'm thinking it's going to happen to me, right? So what are some of these movies that y'all people, and I say y'all because you and Mom made me watch, that were traumatizing that I should not have watched as a child, where people go to Asian countries that are communist and they get thrown in jail for like random things and you never see them again for 20 years and they are like emaciated. And I was terrified. Like, I'm never going to an Asian country because as a child, I was terrified that for some unjustified reason, I'm getting thrown in some rice paddy, right? This is happening. Now it's like...
You're thinking about China Cry. Yeah.
Thank you. But now it's like you're going to go to the UK or even Sweden or Canada or something and you enter into their country and all of a sudden you're thrown into the whatever patty of the equivalent of the UK and never heard from again. And then you have to have Donald Trump come and give you a pardon and get you out of the UK. I mean, this is becoming a legitimate thing right now. I'm freaking out here.
So he goes on to talk about what happened, and he says such measures are common practice in North Korea and Saudi Arabia. So he agrees with you.
Yeah.
It is sad to see how Britain, the candle of Western democracy and rule of law, is fast descending into tyranny. Following massive protests on social media, demonstrations in Whitehall, a legal challenge by 2 publishers, a huge international attention. Huge international attention for the case, the British authorities lifted the media ban. But Tommy Robinson has remained in prison despite over 500,000 people signing a petition for his release. Even those who do not defend Robinson's actions are appalled by the hypocrisy surrounding this case. And I had an article up by Douglas Murray where he, like Nigel, calls out Tommy for his, rather maybe in-your-face tactics. Uncouth, but Tommy, as he's gotten more professional, he's dropped a lot of the swearing.
Yeah,
he's trying to learn what he can and cannot do, but he wants to push the envelope
because he realizes that if he doesn't go out and make a change, the rest of y'all gonna be sitting on your heinies and not do a single thing. I guess I can't say that word in the UK. I'm sorry. In the United States, it just means your rear end. In the UK, it doesn't. I'm sorry.
Okay, but Tommy Robinson remained imprisoned, and then even those who don't defend Robinson's actions are appalled by the hypocrisy. Robinson was arrested for breaching the peace and convicted for contempt of court because he was reporting about an Islamic grooming gang of 29 suspects who are suspected of dozens of rapes, including children. The case is similar to an earlier case in Rotherham where Pakistani and Afghani gangs abused more than 1,400 children and girls. But the authorities ignored the victims because of what a damning official report later called misplaced political correctness. Majid Nawaz, founder of the think tank Quilliam and a former member of the radical Islamic group, I can't pronounce it, dryly commented on Robinson's arrest and swift conviction. I wish those young girls, and we read this before, victims of predominantly Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs had seen justice served for them as fast as justice served for Tommy Robinson. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing, like, instead of, like, police tweeting out, if you're caught with terrorist information, or if you're caught, with extremist ideologies, if you're caught spreading extremist ideologies, you will be imprisoned. Instead, they're saying, watch out, we are monitoring social media for hate speech, and you Brits will be arrested.
Wow.
Another author and former Breitbart London editor, Raheem Kassim, who was raised as a Muslim, warns of the police state that Britain was rapidly becoming. The stakes for the elite are pretty high, but for us, they are immeasurable. We don't have anything to lose. They've taken everything from us already. They have stripped us of our rights. They've stripped us of our dignity. They stripped us of our money. That's a huge one. They've already, like in America, they're not putting us in prison yet, but they're putting us in like YouTube jail, Twitter jail, Facebook jail,
right?
Like those kind of jails. And now they strip us of the last thing we have to fight, which is our words, our very speech. Tommy Robinson still, after all the censorship, had a following. He still had people following him after everything.
And they
after everything they've done to shut us all down.
But they really gagged him. They pulled him from Twitter. They kind of made...
And people still found him.
And so they had to... Somebody got together. Some authority somewhere said, the next time this guy goes to do anything, you are hot to trot, get on it. He's got to go to jail because that's the only way we're going to be able to shut him up is if he dies. And that's the goal.
Tommy embodies the hope of many whose voices are not heard. That is why I stand with him. Tommy is a hero. It is a disgrace that he is still in jail. I have been invited... Yeah.
Okay.
I've been invited to a major protest demonstration in London next week, and I will be coming. Free Tommy now. Yay, Geert!
I love it.
Geert.
I absolutely love it.
Geert.
Is it Geert or is it Geert?
Geert. It's
I don't
probably
know. I have no idea.
Geert. Europe is waking up, says Marine Le Pen. She rebrands her party to stop EU tyranny ahead of elections. Marine Le Pen has announced she is rebranding her party, which was founded by her father nearly half a century ago, to appeal to as many voters as possible ahead of European elections. When we were in Montana, we met people from France.
Yeah.
And when we mentioned Marine Le Pen, their first thought was, oh, they're racist. They're not. They literally said they're Nazis.
Yeah.
So Marine Le Pen is rebranding her party. Her niece is amazing, but she's branded a Nazi too. I've listened to her. There's nothing crazy with what she says. She's amazing. She's just awesome, on fire. The EuroSceptic leader has changed the party name from Front National to Rassemblement National, which means
Reassemblement. Oh, no, you're right. That's not Rassemblement.
Yeah. Which means National Rally.
Okay.
Which she started as she started her campaign for European parliamentary elections next year. In a nod to Italy's new anti-establishment government, we're going to cover that in a minute, the firebrand politician said people in Europe are waking up, and it added the populist coalition was a reason for hope. She blasted the arrogant tyranny of the EU and the European oligarchy barricaded in Brussels. Speaking to activists who voted 81% in favor of the new name, with a 53% turnout, she said, "Homage to the National Front, long live the National Rally." But the party keeps its flame logo, which Le Pen's father borrowed from the neo-fascist Italian socialist movement. Miss Le Pen said the name change closes a chapter in the history of our national movement, which opened a little more than 45 years ago. But it is better to open another one, which I believe is no less glorious. Le Pen wants to rally people of all political stripes. She hopes the election can lead to veritable European revolution. And now we want to get to, we're still talking about Tommy. I got articles about Tommy. I'm going to show you this because this is the MEPs. This woman
is incredible to me.
She had Lauren Southern on.
Right.
Southern
well, she just played the video.
I think she had her in. She had her in.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was
her documentary about South Africa is coming out very soon. Lauren Southern's. But there's a block, a voting block in the European Union called the Leaders of the Europe of Nations and Freedom Group. They held a press conference on the imprisonment of Tommy Robinson on May 30th, and the MEPs call on the UK government to release Tommy immediately. So I'm going to play this here.
As an act of terror, he was found dead within 5 months.
Now they're talking about that other guy that went to jail.
For Tommy Robinson, his life is in danger. He is a political prisoner.
Look, we all have hashtag
Tommy Robinson was denied a fair trial. Putting him in jail is like putting him on death row.
It is.
His crime, exposing the truth. Any government that imprisons journalists because they report the inconvenient truth is totalitarian.
Journalists.
Thank you.
The
Totalitarian.
of Tommy Robinson is incompatible with the rule of law, with Western values, with fundamental human rights.
Thank you.
Tommy Robinson.
You know what he could have done? Given him a warning.
Yeah.
Pull him aside. Say, you do know that what you did here was blah, 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 blah.
Violating whatever I told you. Now, here's the thing, though. You're right. But still telling him that he can't is totalitarian.
Oh, absolutely.
So the fact that Tommy is bucking what he was, whatever, if he was told, which I don't think that he really did violate what he was told. That's my humble opinion, because he was just reading the report.
The whole time he was asking the police, is this okay? Is this okay? Can I stand here? You know?
He was. I don't think Tommy had any idea that he was violating what he was quote unquote told. But anyway, regardless, even if he did know, the fact that he would go out there and put his life on the line to say this is wrong, somebody's got to do it. The man's a hero.
Yeah, it reminds me of,
unless you all just want to live in a
John Bunyan
totalitarian government where you're told what you can and cannot say, or you're going to sit by like a sheep.
You know what?
And let
UK,
it happen.
UK has a horribly long history of imprisoning people of conscience.
Let's listen to this guy. They don't want to listen to me.
Must be released immediately.
Immediately.
Thank you very much, Marcel. And Nicola, from the Front National and co-president and leader
That's
of
Le
the Front
Pen's
National
party.
in the UK.
Merci Janice, merci pour l'initiative de cette conférence de presse et pour les différentes initiatives qui ont été prises ces derniers jours pour alerter l'opinion publique en Grande-Bretagne bien sûr, mais au-delà sur l'ensemble du continent européen sur le procès, les communistes du procès, la réalité n'a pas de véritable permettre que qui sont clairement mis en danger d'action.
If somebody has this translated, let me know.
Gerald Vannemans from Vlaams and Vice President of the ENF.
Thank you very much, Janice, for inviting me here today. As an experienced witness, I would say, I would like to only underline that this Robinson case is part of a broader problem. I will speak in Dutch, if possible, for the rest. Wat we vaststellen is als Vlaams Belang dat we...
So we're totally going to need to have that translated. But she speaks too. I'm going to get to her.
Daarom zei
prosecute Marine Le Pen might be leaving.
U dank om mij de gelegenheid te hebben gegeven om hierover te spreken. Dank u.
Well, thank you very much, colleagues. We appreciate it so much in the UK. We might be leaving the EU, but we're certainly not leaving Europe. And you can see what's happening with our opposition, with the opposition that we have when they're trying to prosecute Marine Le Pen for sharing jihadi images, and they're trying to prosecute Geert Wilders because of his views and exposing what's going on. I'll hand it over to the journalist now. If you can state who you are and what journal that you represent, and then we'll try to answer your questions. Sir?
Thank you. David Carretta, Radio Radicale. Italian Radio en français, c'est une question à Monsieur Bailly.
This is what we call real multiculturalism.
Des dépenses du groupe EFN qui ont été contestées.
You know what? We're going to go on to the Italy thing. I'm sure there's more. But you get the idea. I love that they held this press conference. What's so interesting is, like, you know, it just boggles my mind there's not more journalists there.
I know.
To cover it.
It is
see,
disappointing.
You know what I mean? We're going to cover that. We have some good news. Let's see. All right, Italy. So, we got a government. We have a government in Italy. They were gonna have elections.
Yes.
New elections. I was gonna play a video for you, Nigel Farage, talking about new elections in Italy because their president, I guess, prime minister, president, whatever.
I think they have. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think they have a president and kind of a prime minister. The president's role is almost kind of like the queen, like a little bit for show.
So
but he does have some power.
Yeah, he was given the approval. The power of approval of this new government that these EuroSceptic parties, but they're very widely differing. Like, one's more like libertarian and one is incredibly socialist. So to come together on mass migration is their main issue, and Euroscepticism and the euro itself, like the monetary euro. And they were going to have new elections because the guy that they picked for their finance minister is incredibly Eurosceptic of the euro and Europe in general, the European Union, I mean. And he didn't want him in there. Well, they worked it out because there was such an outcry. There was going to be like a revolt. I mean, these people were like, we voted, right? We voted. And overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
And these people were like, take my stupid vote, okay, already. And so they put the guy who's going to be finance minister into another position, and the guy they put in finance minister turns out to be a Eurosceptic as well. So now that they have their government together, now things begin to fall in place.
Which is really, really good news because they have some exciting things on the line.
So at a rally, Matteo Salvini said to migrants, it's time to pack your bags. Your free ride is over. And he promises mass deportations. Migrants living in Italy have been advised to start packing as the country's new populist leaders repeated promises to boot them out of the country. And they ran on different platforms. Like, one was going to kick out like most of them. One was going to kick out like a little bit less.
And because it was kind of hilarious.
They were like,
we were looking at numbers.
Each other.
It was. There was like, what else? Can we promise like an extra 20,000 or 30,000 people that are going to be deported?
So a rally in northern Italy, new interior minister and a league leader, Matteo Salvini, warned, the good times for illegals are over. Get ready to pack your bags. Salvini's appointment was described as a dream by one supporter, while another said on the politician's Facebook page that the new political lineup is a breath of different air. Around this is a festive air. You can see it in the looks of Italians who have confidence in their government. This is a government with the right people in the right places. I'm so excited for them, and I'm excited that it's the Italian people that are taking the lead of Hungary now. Hungary's, Hungary's Fidesz party has even gotten more popular. Even that's even possible. Like the whole country is behind them. In Poland, they're like.
Can you imagine the unification of a country that pretty much everybody is behind one political party and they're that excited about it?
It's pretty cool. Yeah. So you've got the newly appointed Italian Prime Minister, Giuseppe Conte, Minister of Defense, Elisabetta Trenta, and I guess all these people are liberty-minded people. Earlier today, Salvini joined Premier Conte and the rest of the newly sworn-in cabinet to view the Republic Day parade in Rome. And so people are sworn in. They finally got, look at the Italian colors there.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know if you guys can see that, but coming out of the exhaust there, we've got green, white, and red.
So I'm excited to see this happening. Italy's new populist leaders commemorated the founding of the Italian Republic by attending the pomp-filled military parade. A pledge of mass deportations to come was a reminder that Italy has a staunchly anti-immigrant right-wing party in its government coalition. Conte, a law professor plucked from relative obscurity to head an unlikely governing alliance of the anti-establishment Five-Star Movement and the League, said the celebrations transcended all the tensions of recent days. Then you've got Italy's leader of labor there, Luigi. I love these Italian names. Di Maio. And so it's pretty exciting to see them finally come together. They're excited. And it's awesome.
All my bags are packed. I'm ready to go.
Slovenia may go the way of Italy with the tight election coming up. A former prime minister pursuing an anti-refugee platform like the one propelled the Nationals to power in Italy is supposed to win Slovenia's elections, though rivals vow to shun him and may thwart his path to government. His name is Janza is hoping to form his third cabinet after tumbling out of politics and scandal years ago. I just wanted to bring that to your to your attention. You got about 2 million people in Slovenia, and that's where Melania's from, right? Slovenia. She is. Don't ask. I know. Viktor Orban's patriotic Fidesz party becomes even more popular in Hungary, and I was talking about this. They're surging in the polls, and he's that's a different one. He is actually kicking out. I'm gonna bring up my article here. He's kicking out NGOs, and if I don't find that, because we're running short on time, I want to get through some of these other news stories. So I'm going to just kind of give you this idea on Italy here. Italy challenges the post-world order. This is a kind of a pretty cool article. Italy's new government represents the most radical challenge yet to the order that has dominated Europe since World War II, compromising the populist left.
Comprising,
whatever. And
I'm just here to help.
Thank you. Five-Star Movement and the populist right league. I mean, these people are like, socialists versus conservatives coming together on Euroscepticism. Is pretty powerful. The coalition is often described as a combination of alt-left and hard-right. But in fact,
that's kind of like the same thing. Like circles back, it's where the circle comes together.
This really goes to show you that there is no such thing as hard left and hard right. There are just people with ideas. Everybody wants to be put in a box.
Yes.
You're on the right. You're on the left. You're blah, 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 blah. No. Dude, these are people with, if they're coming together on the same ideas, aren't they, both in the center?
Yes.
Seriously?
Ish.
Whatever. But in fact, it moves beyond conventional ideology categories. No wonder its members have been darkly described as barbarians and insurgents. Something in the project of European integration is not working, and the elites who led it have refused to adjust. True. The euro is failing miserably in Southern Europe, yet the European Commission wants to deepen economic and monetary union. The euro has powered German economic growth while saddling countries like Italy and Greece with austerity and debt. They want to be able to print their own money. Okay, so what we talk about all the time...
Everybody else doing it. It's not right.
But come on.
Everybody else is doing it, so how is it okay? That's why these countries are failing, and that's the whole goal of the European Union, to keep them poor and dependent.
So they emphasize environmentalism, claiming that man and the environment are two sides of the same coin. Calls for a reduction of carbon emissions into fossil fuels. The mixed ideology character of the new coalition is illustrated by Alberto Bagna, a left-wing Eurosceptic economist who represents the League in the Italian Senate. His book, The Sunset of the Euro, decries the single currency as a means for Germany to exert its dominance in the Eurozone. He strongly opposes mass immigration, calling it a tool to drive down wages and increase exploitation of workers.
Yes.
It's no surprise that the left-wing intellectuals don't care about immigrants' impact on wages. It's because they're not low-skilled workers. Even more radically, the 31-year-old leader of the five-star movement, Luigi Di Maio, has challenged the tyranny of economic metrics. In a speech prior to the election, he said the economic indicator of growth will no longer be GDP. He represents a fundamental change to the free trade post-war, which has culminated in the rule of multinational corporations over small businesses and enterprises. Italy had a huge debt crisis, so did Greece.
Greece was worse.
Yeah. So, in another traditionalist initiative, the Five-Star League program seeks to reverse Italy's plummeting birth rates. It's necessary to provide family welfare, the program says. The program proposes measures to help women manage their motherly and professional roles by providing free childcare. I'm not a fan of that. But addressing one of the main reasons for the declining birth rate, a financial penalty opposed by childbirth. So
hang on, wait, there was a penalty?
Well, I believe it's like going to work and all these things, having to pay for childcare and things like that.
I love that they are trying to boost Italians having more Italians. This is not a racial thing, right? Okay, it's just a country thing.
Religion also plays a strong role. You've got the Catholic Church there, and they're really staunchly anti-mosques and anti, things, playing in the background.
Because it's taking over. When you go, and I've said this so many times on the show, but it bears repeating. When you go to Italy, you want to see the Italians. You want to experience Italy. You don't want to experience
this. Listen, this is Big Ben. Can you hear Big Ben? Wait, what's that? Is that a... Can you do that? Why can't we hear Big Ben? I'm here in London. I want to hear the bells, baby. I want to hear the chimes. This cannot be. This is not right. So, I didn't hear no clock chime. I didn't hear no clock chiming, baby. Come on. Come on now. Got another one for you. Here you go. Ready? So this is hilarious. So all over the UK are these like Allah things. They're on buses and everything. But watch this. Are you ready? It's a moving ad. Watch. Watch it move. Allah, Islamic. Ready? Bacon King! Bacon King! I wonder who set that one up.
That is fantastic.
Come back. That's hilarious, right?
Oh my gosh.
All right, so I'm going to go through a couple more of these, and then we got to move outside. All right, Poland. Good news. Children are our greatest treasure and our hope for the future, says the Polish First Lady.
I love it.
Children are our greatest treasure and our hope for the future, says Poland's First Lady on Friday as the country observed Children's Day.
Children's Day. We don't have a Children's Day here.
Agata Kornhauser-Duda, a teacher by professional background, was speaking in the eastern town of Balia Podlaska, where she was taking part in the Children's Day event together. Earlier in the day, the Polish presidential couple appeared in a special video message on Twitter in which they addressed young Poles, wishing them happiness, joy, and love. Dear children, on Children's Day, we wish you all the best. Lots of fun. So I was kind of excited to see that. And now she just said children are our greatest treasure. And you really need to, hopefully we have more babies. All right, Hungarian government outlines stop Soros legislation criminalizing NGOs, which aid and abet illegal migrants. This is awesome. The Hungarian government has outlined its Stop Soros legislative package, which will punish NGOs and activists facilitating illegal immigration. So, on the one hand, Tommy Robinson's put in jail for speaking out on abuse. They're actually going to punish people who are bringing in these people. George Soros is considered one of the main drivers of mass migration by Viktor Orban. And with the billionaire financier accused of lobbying the European Union, of course, it's not accused, he does. The new Stop Soros legislative package puts forth a more rigorous response by declaring illegal immigration a grave threat to Hungary's national security. Anyone involved in aiding or abetting illegal immigration would be committing a criminal offense. Amendments to the Police Act, the Penal Code, and the Act on Asylum, the Act on the State Border, and the Act on the Misdemeanors will make it clear that arranging asylum status for an illegal immigrant or enabling someone who has entered Hungary illegally to acquire residence rights will be seen as facilitating unlawful immigration and punished with a prison term between 5 and 90 days. Committing such offenses on a regular basis will be punished by a year, and I feel like those are fair. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
And he also tells Europe the Hungary's foreign minister says stop bashing Trump. So I always urge our friends in the European Union not to play this new sport art, which is called bashing the United States, because the more our European friends bash the U.S., the more negative impact they will cause with that. And then there's some tariffs we talk about later on this week that Trump is imposing. Christian celebrations in Germantown were canceled because armed guards and trucks were needed to block the street.
From what?
Corpus Christi celebrations were canceled due to high security requirements. The town's parish of St. Elizabeth had to cancel the procession on Corpus Christi on short notice because it needed to arrange extra security measures in too short of a time. The city only heard 2 weeks ago about the requirement to set up additional barriers with 2 guarded checkpoints and roadblocks with trucks.
So, since they can't protect Christians from the religion that shall not be named,
right,
the Christians cannot celebrate their celebrations.
Right.
It sounds to me like that's just an awful good excuse to shut down the Christian celebrations.
I think we'll skip that one for now. This woman says, fellow police made my life torture for trying to stop the Rochdale sex ring, claims a detective. The detective who exposed the Rochdale child abuse scandal has claimed she was bullied by police chiefs for speaking out on grooming gangs. Maggie Oliver said her professional life was made torture after she told senior officers that police were not doing enough to protect girls from predominantly Asian pedophile ring Muslim. The former detective constable resigned from Greater Manchester Police in late 2012 over failures that allowed the Rochdale perpetrators to escape justice for many years. Now, that is why Tommy in jail is so retarded.
You're not supposed to.
It's so backwards. It's so stupid. Ms. Oliver has not spoken publicly about her bullying so as not to detract from the way in which young victims were let down by the police. However, she has now decided to speak out and to support another detective, John Wedger, who the Sunday Express revealed last week is suing the Metropolitan Police for a psychiatric injury he suffered as a result of the bullying. For him trying to stop the sexual pedophile abuse. He was bullied. Messed up in the head. It will mess you up. It will mess you up.
Hang on, though. Seriously, covering it, covering that, just trying to investigate it alone would mess you up. But then being censored or disciplined or whatever because of it will really mess you up.
Yeah, she says, I've never spoken publicly about my personal treatment.
Wow.
Because I never wanted to deflect from the fact that police had failed the child victims of Rochdale. But in trying to expose criminal neglect by senior officers that for me was on par with Hillsborough, I was threatened and bullied.
Wow.
Ms. Oliver was tasked with gaining the trust of vulnerable, hostile victims. However, when they began to identify Asian, come on you guys, Arab, grooming gangs, she said the police cooled their interest in the investigation. She said GMP had a specialist interview suite for vulnerable victims that was, which was
purposely built
to be non-confrontational. It was like a living room, laid back, because you want your witnesses to feel at ease. Yet I remember one senior official screaming down the phone at me, telling me that I had to take vulnerable victims to a suspect interview suite where some of them had been taken previously when they were accused of something that they hadn't actually done.
Wow.
Ms. Oliver claimed the harassment stepped up when she was off work with stress. 2 senior colleagues turned up at my house one day and demanded that I surrender the police phone I'd had for 15 years. The reason they gave was that they didn't want the victims to call me and put me under stress. It was complete nonsense. Just another reason to shut me up. And that's why we're so angry. That's why Tommy had to do what he had to do. He had to. He had to.
But seriously, we need to get back to the fact that, and you're right, I do not believe that Tommy was doing it to kind of make a statement or buck the system. He was trying to stay within what he was allowed to do. The dude has a family. He did not have a let me go to jail wish.
No.
Okay, he was told he wasn't allowed to step on the steps.
No.
And that was already a warning, and so he didn't do that. If he was trying to buck the system and just fly in the face of everything that the judge said, then he would have done that. He wouldn't have asked, can I step on these steps? He would have stepped on the steps, said what he wanted to say, oh, you Muslim rape gangs, da 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 da.
So we're going to end with this, and we're going to wrap things up. This is Ex-Muslim TV. You can watch on, you can go and see a lot of things on Twitter. This man, he says, I thought Europe would be a free place, denounced by my dad, jailed and tortured for leaving Islam in Iraq. I'm now threatened with death in Germany. And this is what we're talking about. This is what you're not allowed to talk about.
I'm sorry he's in Germany,
even these people who are leaving, and guess what, guys? I am all about real refugees leaving these countries who have denounced the religion that shall not be named and are running away.
Because their lives are in danger, like leaving a gang.
Exactly. So those people, and that's the difference between the whole mass migration, open borders, we want refugees people, and us. Like, I want these kind of people. I want to give them refuge, right? And if it comes to the point where a bunch of people are trying to get in because they literally are trying to leave for their lives are at stake.
Absolutely.
Then, the countries that they are in need to change. He says, I am an ex-Muslim from northern Iraq. He speaks in English.
As a child, I was a religious person, going almost 5 times a day to the mosque. In the age of 15, I started reading critical things about Islam on the internet.
Praise God for the internet.
And this helped me to live
That's why they're trying to censor it.
Islam is not the religion of peace. Later I told my dad that I don't believe for Islam anymore. So he reported me to the police. I stayed in a jail for a while. I've been tortured with electroshocks and many other ways. Later I had to leave Iraq. I came as a refugee to Germany. I continue to talk and write about this evil religion.
So he's allowed to say that. Evil religion. But we say it, we're Islamophobic.
Yes.
But he was tortured for leaving it under this whole...
I thought Europe will be a free place.
Think again.
But almost same. I've been also threatened with death here in Germany. I'm talking that this thing to become normal someday. And I'm asking all the ex-Muslims around the world to talk out.
See, people can leave Christianity every day, man. People do. They talk bad about Christianity every single day.
Right.
That church I went to, you know what that pastor did. I left that church. I ain't no Christian no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? People leave every day. It's not a religion when you kill people, wouldn't it leave? And you know what? They used to. I have to mind you, seriously.
Yeah.
Christians used to kill heretics, burn them at the stake, but it wasn't real Christians. They messed up in the head, and they reformed. So, Islam, reform thyself. Stop killing people. All right. So, hey,
that wraps us up. I have exciting news, though. Since we're ending this show early, Leah's goal was 45 minutes. We are at 49 here. Kelly, one of our moderators, and her husband and son are coming to pick up piglets this afternoon.
Yes, they are.
And so at some point within the next hour or two, we will be going live with them. So you guys can meet Kelly and her family, and we'll do like a little farm tour, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to be sitting on the edge of your seat checking every 5 minutes, but sometimes you're not getting notifications. So you may have to check that.
Find us on Facebook. There are things that I post on Facebook that you wouldn't see. Mom is a big Q fan. Benedict Cumberbatch took on 4 muggers near Baker Street, so he pulled out of his little Uber.
Sure. I think sometimes as an actor, you just want to be cool like you are, in real life. Because sometimes I feel like I'm cool, but I don't have anybody to take down.
I love in South Korea, Trump's doing the summit. South Koreans say God has to do it. There's a bunch of Christians praying for this to happen. And this is kind of cool. I follow One for Israel. I know that my Hamas-loving people on the progressive side on my Facebook page, they don't watch the videos. They just kind of like, a few do. And I appreciate you guys when you do, by the way. I don't want to make fun of you too much. It's funny, though. Seriously. We're not politically correct. But they comment on there, Israel's the devil and Palestinians are just like little angels. But this is a really cool article. You guys can go on Facebook and see what happens when a Muslim who hated Jews comes to faith in Jesus. And in Berlin, they sat in a coffee shop in Berlin. Your skin is just like mine. Ali held Joseph's hand tenderly. You're just like me. Ali had come to faith from a Muslim background several months ago, but he had never met a Jew before in his life.
That's incredible.
And
I have goosebumps.
He sat with this kid, his name Joseph, a Jewish student from the Israel College of the Bible. The ex-Al-Qaeda member realized that they were not only made of the same material, but they were actually family, brothers in the Messiah. Ali had been raised all his life to hate Jewish people with great fervor. And I'm sure everybody, the pro-Palestinian people will deny that till their dying breath.
True.
And to consider them not only enemies, but subhuman. In fact, he used to believe that it was essential to rid the world of the filth of Jewish people. It's so funny, these ex-Muslims that come out and say, I was taught this. And then all the liberals like, no, you weren't. Like, no, really, I was. Like, no, you weren't. You never were taught. You were just, not really. So it came as a great shock to him to see that Jews were just as human as he was. He grew up in a Sunni family in Syria and quickly became a very radical Muslim. He was a judge of Sharia law and joined Al-Qaeda, helping to establish branches of Al-Qaeda in Syria and Iraq. His brothers were no less radical, one even becoming a member of ISIS and another serving in the Free Syrian Army. They were all, the Free Syrian Army, like against Syria, Bashar al-Assad, by the way. They were all opposed to each other. They ended up in a Syrian prison after going there to fight Assad and was in jail there for 7 years. To his horror, he found he was having a lot of dreams about Jesus.
Oh, wow.
And saw the cross several times over the years. He was terrified to death to tell anyone what was happening to him. Eventually, like many other Syrians, he fled, made his way over to Europe. On his journey to Germany, he came across a church and felt compelled to go inside.
Wow.
After an inner struggle, he went in and saw exactly the same cross that was in his dreams. This is the whole Christopher Columbus thing. The Indians saw crosses. They knew it was Jesus.
Natives.
He heard the Lord telling him, this is where your journey begins. Reports are coming in from all across the Muslim world of numbers coming to faith so overwhelming that Christian leaders simply do not know how to handle the need for discipleship.
Oh my gosh, that's so important.
2 conferences have been held in recent months specifically for leaders of Muslim background believers to discuss this issue. How do we disciple so many new believers that have known nothing but Islam? And so there's a guy, Dr. Erez Soref, and he was a representative of Israel and the Jewish people of the Middle East. And these men came together, and I'm just so excited because these are the kind of things that I love to hear and see.
We got good news.
You've got such anger and such hatred, and they're telling us, I was angry. And every time a Muslim comes to Jesus, their whole story is, I was filled with anger, I was filled with hatred.
And it is not a religion of peace.
And it's not a religion of peace.
We hear that
and
a
so
lot.
when we come and tell people that this is what these ex-Muslims are telling us, like somehow we're some crazed people, when we're like, these people came to Jesus, I see a change in you.
Right.
You wanted to kill people, now you love people. You want to hug people, you want to be with people. And this, I have to tell you that Muslims coming to faith in Jesus actually believe more than these Christians in America right now.
It's very true.
Like they have been searching for God, and then when they find him, it's like when the Hindus find God.
Yes.
Like their faith is so real to them, and they really believe in Jesus. They believe in the power, like Isak Abla. Like she's amazing. Filled with the Holy Ghost, man. She puts her life on the line, leading people. So like the answer, we talk about this all the time, but like I got goosebumps. Is a real answer for Europe. The best thing to do is get on your face before God and ask God, if you're surrounded by Muslims, Allow the Holy Spirit to work through you, to minister to these people and bring them to Jesus. If you have Muslims in your workplace, bring them to Jesus Christ. Pray for them. Pray that this isn't like sign on the dotted line, accept Jesus Christ your Savior. Like, seriously, life-changing, life-altering faith in Jesus Christ. And that's how you bring about Western Christian values. Europe was filled with barbarians who sacrificed and people, and you got the Druids and all kind of crazy pagan rituals, right? And then the gospel came and set people free, and the gospel evolved in people and grew in people, and it went from like the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages and to where Rome crucified people on a cross, to then the Christians crucified people, not crucified but burned people at the stake. It's kind of like a mentality that Christians, real Christians, were like blowhorn, like Tommy Robinson. Stop! This is bad. This is not in the Bible.
Right.
Stop doing this. Jesus would not do this.
Your phone is ringing, or is that an alarm?
That would be an alarm. Time to go.
To end the show. All right, you guys. So check back here in a little while when we have Kelly and her family here. Really exciting.
Don't forget to like.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. Find us on
you didn't
Facebook.
Read any comments? I talked
Follow
too
us
much.
on Twitter.
It's my fault.
Okay.
Did anybody say anything that I feel so bad at the end. At the end, I'm like, comments.
No, I think it's okay. We will do more comments. All right, so one comment I did read that I was like, we're going to try. Somebody said, I would love it if the Resistance Chicks went live more than twice a week. Me too.
Girlfriend or whoever you are. I got to tell you, this is like our busiest time. And we tell you this, like, January, February.
There's only a
March.
few things that we can cut out. Eating, sleeping, bathing, and going live. We're kind of cutting all that out right now. You smell funny.
I smell great because I have on Maia's deodorant.
All right, guys. No, but seriously, we will try to. We think about it. Usually on like Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, we're having a discussion. Are we going to go live? And it's like 8:30 and we don't have anything ready. And it's like, no. But we will try. We would love to. We miss you guys. So is it, Dale says, use a GoPro, then go live as you are doing your daily chores.
You know what? We did that before, and we should.
We should. We absolutely should.
We used
My
to
phone overheats. My new phone. It's a new phone.
My phone's fine. We should do that. And it was easier when we were doing shorter shows. We need to do some short shows out there and just cover things like North Korean Summit and things that we can just talk about with things we don't have to bring up on the screen.
Right. All right. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
And that's what we try to bring you here at Resistance Chicks every week. We go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Sunday at 1. You guys know that. We want to see you back. And share these videos on your social media pages.
Yeah.
Also, contact me via email. If you have something that you want me to look at, let me know. massfaith33@gmail.com.
And you can send it in Resistance Chicks inbox too as well.
Yes, you can. And our website, resistancechicks.com, very simple to get there. I haven't been staying on top of uploading stuff there, but I'm hoping to this week. So, all right, you guys. God bless.
Leads, is what we say.
And we'll see you back here in just a little. I'm sorry that the camera was off today. I didn't have time to really set it up too well. It's a little bit, for somebody that has OCD about these kinds of things, I can never get it right, and y'all just have to deal.
And I'm sorry I didn't have my thing to stand on. Michelle likes me to be a little bit taller, and I usually put a blanket
so we're the same.
Under my feet. And I knew it the whole time. I was like, I don't have anything.
That's okay, but we're matching with our pink flowers. We didn't do that on purpose.
Tippy toes it.
All right. Love you guys. I was